This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon to all our viewers and welcome to And Beyond Ngala, where this afternoon we are looking at the clouds. And you can just see the sunlight coming through it. And the question I'm asking myself is what these clouds are going to do. We had a cloudy morning and then it opened up completely and it was very, very hot during the middle of the day. And now there's a slightly cooler breeze with some clouds moving in again. And this afternoon we are going to try and look for some lions later on. So, welcome to your virtual safari live from the African bush. And myself, I'm JAPIE, and behind the camera we have Sebastian. And we were wondering to ourselves what this weather might do, because over the last few days the weather has been up and down in this area quite a bit, and we are not entirely sure whether we are expecting more rain or not. It's very, very difficult to say for sure according to weather apps or any technology that we might use to help us with predicting the weather. This area is always something different. And we're hoping that when it cools down in about an hour or two, then those lions might be up and they might be moving. This morning we only had part of the pride, and we're hoping that the rest of them are somewhere nearby where it looks like they might have been feeding on something. Along the way, we are going to have a look, see if we can follow the roads up and down the riverbanks to see if we might pick up on any tracks of leopard or elephant. And we haven't seen buffalo for quite a while in this area, so we are hoping that maybe some buffalo bulls might show somewhere up. Then always along the river there's lots of trees, like this big apple leaf off to my right over here. And then There's a few others in this area, and also some very well protected small thorny shrubs. And we're hoping that we might find some birds within this area. And we'll go with whatever we can find. So, I think let's get started and let's see what we can pick up along the way. Now, this particular road is always a good road to start off when you are looking for leopards, due to the fact that it's so close to the Timbavati riverbed. And it runs in a huge bend, the biggest bend within the river on Ngala. And what makes it so productive is the fact that this bend is covered with riverine forest. Now, along the way, there's quite big trees. Look, what birds do we have at Ngala? That's quite a broad question, since we have recorded more than 370 species in this area, and it's always growing. In fact, recently we've had some specials. We had a rufous-bellied hen, which have not been recorded in this area before. And every time we pick up on a new bird in the area, we add to our list. So the list will be ever growing. And in the larger area, the Kruger National Park, there's a lot of bird species recorded, more than 500. And the best place to see them is along the riverbed. We often look for bird parties. Areas or small sections that's very, very dense clump bush. And then there's also pushed over trees that creates its own habitat underneath it, where little birds might roost at night time, or they might be looking.
Coming to you live.
Jumbo, 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 everyone. I hope you enjoyed that silent moment with Lauren. It's always something special to listen to the sounds of nature. Here I have elephants on the move, heading somewhere unknown to me, but definitely that is not just a walk, it's a move. Yes, Jumbo Jumbo, Isaac here. On camera I have Bungay. Our mission is to go and find the Owinos. They were still on that rock the whole day, and I understand that they are coming down, so we're gonna go see if they're going to find something, and maybe we might find those beautiful little ones. It's another gorgeous afternoon. Remember to talk to us on #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. Also, you can send in your kids' question at WildEarth TV or at FC. Yeah, this afternoon our weather here in the Masai Mara is 26 degrees Celsius or centigrade, if you like to put it that way. And the weatherman says that, you know, there's 13% chance of getting rain, but we already gotten some rain. But it's very localized, it's not everywhere. That is a very big herd of elephant. This is an area we rarely get to see them, but I think they have been keeping it private and green so that they can come and utilize it, but they are moving really, really fast. Remember, we've been seeing lots and lots of young ones. You see inside there, there's already a few ones, but also plenty of females are very pregnant. Jimmy, can we hear elephants talk to each other? Not always. Well, if they do that, we will hear that, but there is a frequency called infrasound, which is much, much below our sense of hearing. If they do that one, we cannot hear it. But that loud rumble, that one, we hear it. And usually it's a very comforting sound. And always when they rumble like that, I normally see them stop and look around. It's like to be alert. They went off my angle of the camera. So I'm gonna see if there's some more behind these trees. There's always elephant around this area. We call it Shieni, and it's called Shieni because Shieni was a guide in one of the camps in the early 80s when the radios were not around here. And this is an area you could never go across because if you did, there was always bandits. And when he arrived here, because it's the only crossing, he was hijacked by some bandits, and because he didn't have a radio, they took everything, including the car keys. And so he had to walk back all the way to camp, which is quite a long way. And since that, it's called Shieni's Crossing. And he guided for many, many years. I had a privilege to meet him, and he was a gentle man, one of the best guides, you know, that ever existed here in the Masai Mara. Look at that, all those elephants. Yeah, this is something I have to share with you. All those are elephants. Look at that. It's just unbelievable. They'll come into view right now. Yes, all those are elephants. Lots and lots of young ones. Yeah, we've had a good baby boom. You can see there's a lot of them. And we're continuing to see more and more each day. Definitely, without the loud rumble of the elephant, is that Rosalette or Rosaline? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. How fast can elephants run? Well, they are very, very fast. They run up to around 50 to 60 kilometers an hour. and they can hold on to that for about a kilometer. So they are very, very fast. Although they seem to be very heavy and clumsy, this is an animal most of us cannot outrun. It's very ticklish or very funny when they run, because it looks like a stiff man running. You know, have you ever held your body tight on the upper side and then tried to run? That's how an elephant looks like, you know. They're quite interesting. Sometimes it tickles me. And it's very interesting. Sometimes it's nice just to let the camera do its job. So I'm going to let Bungei entertain you for a few seconds.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome aboard. It's not the best start in terms of visuals. That is a dead impala hoisted not too far up this tree. It's a combination tree. This is a bit of a jackalberry. It's a jackalberry growing next to marula. Very nice. So, the thing is, we don't see the leopard yet, but I can hear the monkey's alarm calling. Hi, everyone. It's me, Trishala, and I've got Theo on camera with me. Yes, I do. 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to be quiet because I want you to listen to the monkey's alarm call. Can you hear that? You know what? Let's move together. There's nothing like finding a leopard together. Alarm calls are here. Monkeys have really good eyesight, so they can look quite a distance. This is a good bush. Also very reliable alarm call. So find the monkeys where they're looking. That's going to help us a lot. I see them up there. All right. All right. You're going to, just the edge of it. You might see our receiving tower there, but there's one on the tree below as well. We can have a look at the one on the tree below, to the left. All right, so that's where all the monkeys are. And they're all looking down into that spot. That's the one I'm interested in. So we look at the line of sight. So right down. Right. Let's see if we can get through here. Okay. Excuse me. So this is the reason that it looks so built up, is because this is a couple hundred meters from our camp and where other people who work and live here live. So you'll find that it's quite built up. It's like our little city here, our little town. So we're going to have a quick look here. You can see there's quite a few silver cluster leaf. It's creating quite a stench at the moment. Let's just have a look through here. just that where the monkeys are looking is right near our camp. So it's so well, it's not unlikely, but it's not. We didn't notice anything. Okay. Well, you know, like I said, one of the favorite things to do is to find the leopard with you. But I might find it without you. I'll try really hard not to. Oh, they're getting quite violent looking. All right. Well, we're going to keep on searching for our leopard. And I'm going to send you to one of those silent segments that we're doing where you can immerse yourself in nature, and you're going to have that opportunity with Lauren.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Tswalu Kalahari Reserve. We got a nice sighting here after nice rainfall that we just have early in the morning, where we had almost like 6 mils of rainfall, which is very good. You can see everything is starting to be green all around us. And here we got a leopard tortoise mating. Which is quite an interesting thing, and then quite very vocal. The mating can take several minutes unless been disturbed, and they will lay eggs. After mating, they will lay eggs of between, let's say, she will lay eggs between 5 to 30 eggs, and then thereafter you can have clutches. And the quite interesting thing with the male and female is that the male has got a V-shaped underneath the protective shell that it had. It's V-shaped, and then the male, it has got a U-shape. That's how you can identify the male and the female. And when we can talk about what do they eat? They are vegetarians. They don't eat meat. They will eat leaves of grasses or trees. And they can go for quite a long time without drinking water. But so long as there's water now, then they will drink water. But a quite very interesting thing that I know about is that sometimes you don't know. In the Kalahari,
The question, how long thank you very much for the question. They can mate for, let's say, up to, about 4 to 5 minutes. Yeah, that's the answer. The other, as I was saying, is that in the Kalahari it's very hot, that they need to make sure that they don't rehydrate, and they only do that by just going inside the burrows where they know they're not going to get the heat of the sun, or just go underneath the bushes, so that they don't lose too much of the heat. All right, we're just gonna take you guys to another location.
Here we are with still my elephants. They're still all here, and there is one female very close to me here, and she's been eyeing me. I don't know what I've done to her. She's very, very close to the vehicle. She doesn't seem to want to cross the road and follow the rest. She's just staying here. Quite intimidating for her size. She's very big and also very pregnant. Look at that. So I expect her to give birth in the next coming weeks. Look at how big she is. Yeah, there's so many. They're everywhere. Yeah, sometimes they don't like the sound of the vehicles. They will stop and have a look. Just very much like many animals, they have a voice box, but it comes through the trunk, not through the mouth. So it comes from the voice box. Coming through the trunk, I think it is made to vibrate, and that's why it bounces up and down. Very much like many animals. They're equipped with a voice box. Here are another family, and the little guy is suckling. You can see that. How beautiful is that? Always the mother has to stretch one leg forwards to allow easy access to the nipple. And I think, look, you can actually tell that how it's suckling. A lot of milk must come out of there. Yeah, it's hard enough. Some more. Yeah, they say that when a young one can go under the mother like that, it's still under 1 year. But it's not always true, because some mothers are very small and the young one can't go under like that mother. She's not very big, she's not very tall. So it's not always that it's always under 1 year. But that guy is really small. He's about maybe, I'd give him 3 months. Still very, very small. When they get to the road, sometimes they get excited not to touch any grass or any plants. Feels very different. You can tell that the trunk is starting to develop some muscle, trying to pick up some grass. Heading towards cousin or maybe older brother for safety. Yeah, we normally, we always have elephants, but this year we've had exceptionally, many herds and big herds. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Let's take you to another live location.
Hi, we got rock monitor lizard. If you can see just inside the bush there, quite a little bit of camouflage also. You can see now it's taking out this tongue. The rock monitor lizard, it's got a forked tongue like the snakes. And what it's doing there, it's trying to pick up the scent of around the environment where it is, because what it does is to take the smell and put it back in its mouth, and it has got the organ, what is called the Jacobson's organ, which all the snakes and the rock monitor lizard has got to interpret what is around the environment, and that information with the Jacobson's organ get interrupted, then it can decide what's happening, like following, if it needs to follow the mating partners, and then they can use that to follow each other. They are not poisonous, but I wouldn't get very close to them, because they can bite, but when they bite, sometimes they lock their teeth, and then that would be very difficult to get yourself out of the rock monitors. And then also that next defensive way is to use the tail. The tail, it whips very seriously, that you can get hurt if you very close to it. I just went all the way into the bush. We're just gonna let you to another location.
Welcome to and beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. As you can see, we found ourselves a beautiful sleepy female leopard tucked away in this bushveld saffron. My name is Kim, and behind the camera we have Craig, and we will be with you this afternoon. It's a lovely afternoon here at Phinda. You can see it's a little bit overcast. We've got a bit of a breeze in the air, and it's lovely cool weather, which is right. It's actually picked up her head now for the first time since we've been here. But you can see she's incredibly comfortable. If you have a look at that belly, it's rising up and down very rapidly. You can see she's trying to readjust. If you have a look, she's got an incredibly full belly. So she's found a comfortable spot for her to rest this afternoon. She's actually managed to make 4 different kills in a nearby thicket. One was a fully grown female impala ewe, and the other 3 were little impala lambs. So she's been incredibly busy so far, and she's been very clever. She's gone away from the carcasses and she's found herself this wonderful tree, as you can see, it's a really great tree for her to have picked, because if you look right where she's lying, there's actually no branches sort of that will disrupt where she's lying. She's got a nice smooth branch to lie on, very comfortable. But just around the edge, there's a lot of branches overhanging, which helps camouflage her even better. You can see how well this camouflage is working. In fact, the only thing it's really giving away is that really bright white of her fur coat. You can see that's what's more sticking out at this time. But those rosette patterns are doing a very good job of camouflaging her. Looks exactly like the shadows coming through those leaves, which is making her blend in really, really well. Atlanta, I wish I had a better answer for you, and I wish I could claim that we did spot her, but we didn't. We went straight to where we were told that the carcass was, and when we got there, there was no sign of her, and one of the other rangers called us and said that she was in the saffron, just a few meters away from where the carcasses were. So I can't claim spotting for this particular sighting. But yeah, and you know what would normally come down to is we've got incredible trackers on our team, and they have been working in the bush, some of them for over 25 years, and they know exactly the behavior of animals, they know exactly where to look, and a lot of that is what goes into these spotting and tracking techniques. They've got really good eyesight, but also it's just getting into the mind of the animals, thinking about the conditions of the day, what other behavior, what tracks are being seen in the area, and that's going to sort of change where they look. And you'll often, if you ever go on safari, I want you to take note of the trackers and see how their eyes pan from the bottom to the top, into the trees, back down. So they're always thinking of what animals would be doing, where they would be hiding, what they're looking for. And that's generally how you find animals. So what we're going to do is there's a few other vehicles that want to come in and see this beautiful female leopard, and we are going to let them come in and enjoy this. We've had a wonderful view of her so far. So we're going to be sending you over to Lauren, and you're going to be having a silent segment with her to appreciate the sounds of nature.
Patience has paid off. After driving around for a bit, we finally found him. It's none other than Tingana. How amazing. I'm always so happy to see him, and I have this suspicion that he's not alone. He keeps looking around and snarling us a little bit, hissing. I wonder if there's another leopard around. Monkeys are still going and not looking in this direction. I find that quite interesting. Oh, wow, look at that. Listen to that. Look at that face. I can't tell you how excited I am. It's, well, now another car has arrived, so I can't shout in excitement, nor should you in a sighting. But I love Tingana so much. He's one of those leopards that, he's a dominant male in the area. We seldom get to see him anymore, and there he is. I'm just going to have to move forward a touch so we can let other people also have a view of him. And we can reposition after we all know where we want to be. Sorry about that. Let's just, I think we might be able to see his face just a little through that gap there. You'll be able to see his face. Just a little. There we go. All right, that's as good for now. And it's just because he's in such an awkward spot that there's really only one position where you can actually see his face, and that was the position we were in. So we'll just basically rotate that position. Oh, well, we have our friend joining. Good afternoon, Ribbon. Tingana has this habit of making kills really close to camp. So many important sounds going on there. You'd have heard him growl. You can hear the monkeys. June, pretty silent. Sorry, Ribbon, why am I thinking about June? Because we saw her at Lalamba. Ribbon. He's not hoisted it far up in the tree. It's like it's only about 2 meters off the ground. Yawn, you'd like to know if this is a calf or a sub-adult impala? It's actually very difficult to see, but when I looked at it, it didn't look like a calf to me. I could only see the legs. But as I was saying to you, there's such a small window where you can see him properly and the carcass properly because of the bushiness that it's quite difficult to actually be able to tell. And now we have a third vehicle joining us. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to move behind, so because our cameras can see further, we'll move behind the other vehicles, and then everyone else will have a chance to see, and then we will too, because our cameras are better than most of the guests' eyes. You let me know, Theo, when you have a gap. Wait, I can get even further back to allow Fanotia space there. Let's try here. You're gonna have to mind everyone's heads. That's just because, like I said, there's such a small gap where we can actually see his face. I think that's gonna have to do for now. We're all packed a bit like sardines next to each other in a little tin can. Because he's chosen this spot. Oh, look at him. Splendor, you say Ribbon needs more allies to help her steal food. That means Ribbon's got to share more, doesn't it? The only time that they'll really call for enforcement or reinforcements, hyenas, is when the kill is so large that they'll need somebody else to help them take it down. But if they can just take a bit of meat on their own, or they can take a kill on their own, then they'll much rather do that. It feels like a car park here. Sorry about that, guys. We'll try and find a spot where we can at least see a bit of him and won't catch everybody chatting. Oh, but look at that face. Just gorgeous. All right, well, let's try our best to find that spot.
I have found what I was looking for. These are the Owinos, the Owino Pride. We saw them yesterday morning, and they were somewhere very high on top of a rock. But today they have walked down. They're in the plains, and looks like all 4 females from yesterday are here. I haven't seen any cubs, so I don't know until I get closer. It is quite windy, and at the same time the temperature has dropped. Perfect for them to start, a hunt, but there is nothing in sight. This is what makes a lion's life or lioness life extremely, tough, because when there is nothing, sometimes they wander long distances. And I'm sure in their minds, when they look down into the plains and see only large herbivores, they're saddened because there is nothing, and there's nothing they can do. All they can do is to hope that something will come walking by, and mostly this time of the year, warthogs get a beating because they are easy to hunt and easy to stalk in this long grass. Power naps like that are always necessary, and it's in part of lions' behavior, because once they've been active like 10 minutes, scanning, looking, there's a lot of energy used, concentration, sight, and also just looking down. So eventually they have to make a break, and they sleep like what she's doing right now. And in another maybe 5 minutes, she'll wake up, do the same thing. Sometimes something comes in sight, and so they can start. Roslyn, how loud is a lion roar? It can be heard up to around 5 kilometers. And that's on a perfect day when the wind is blowing in the right direction. it can be heard 5 kilometers. But that's a roar. There is another, very muffled roar. Usually that one travels about 1 kilometer, but that one is just a contact call, calling a nearby lion or lioness. But the roar travels long, long ways. Looks like she's enjoying that power nap where she is. And it's just cool. The temperature is just perfect for them to start going on a hunt. Olalashe and Kijana haven't been seen for the last almost 4 days. This is their territory, and I'm sure they'll be very delighted, to learn that the females are back. They've been absent for almost 2 months, and we guess and think that they had gone up the escarpment. There is lots of game up there. There is zebras, topies, warthogs. So sometimes they go there, and when everything runs out, or when the zebras learn that the lions are there, when they come down, the lionesses have to come down. Al, do lions breed at a specifically, certain time of the year? Lions breed any time of the year. And usually onset of the migration, when there is plenty, we do see them breeding quite a lot. But just before the wildebeest again, we see them breeding. But depends on where you are. There are some places where the migration never reach, and over there, lions breed year-round. We've, have seen cubs any time of the year. This light is just perfect for them to look down. Where we are, you can actually see long ways down, and it's easy to pick up anything down in the plains. Remember, being 4 of them and about 2 6-month-old cubs, they need something very, very big. And so if it's a warthog, they might need 2 or 3 warthogs. Anyway, I'm gonna stick here for a little bit longer, see what happens with these girls. Let's take you to another live location. looks like they have decided to have actually a deeper nap, because now you can hardly see them, very well concealed in this grass. If you didn't know what you're looking at, you could actually take them for a termite mound. But they are just there. Sooner or later, maybe they'll be on the move. Remember, we are live here from here in the Masai Mara, and we are with the Owino Pride. This is a breakaway from the Sausage Tree Pride, and there are 5 of them, but we have only seen 4 in the last 2 days, and 2 cubs who are about 6, and another 2 cubs that are only about 6 weeks. I don't know if they are here. They will reveal themselves once they start moving. I haven't moved even closer to them, but I'll be doing that. This is a pride that has struggled in the last 3 years. I haven't seen them bring any cubs up to maturity. So it will be very interesting for us, to find out what will happen with the 2 cubs that are about 6 months old. And they are going to have a very tough life, because one is a male and one is a female. I'm going to try and move closer, and while I do that, let's find out what's happening somewhere else.
Welcome back to and Beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. When last you were with us, we had that beautiful leopard sleeping in a tree, and we've left and come across the most gorgeous sighting. And I'm personally very happy, because I'm a huge fan of elephants. I can spend all day, every day watching them, and they tend to stay in the north of our reserve. So it is something so special to see a whole herd of elephants right in the south, right where I guide out of. And as you can see, straight ahead we have got the most gorgeous sighting. You can see there's a fully grown female in the back, and then we've got 2 younger ones that are just right in front of her, busy feeding there. And it is just the most serene and beautiful sighting. I always find whenever you're watching elephants, you just get this amazing sense of peace and serenity around them. They are these massive animals, and really, if they wanted to, they could 100% show you the whole time who's the king of the jungle. But they're just such peaceful, beautiful animals. They never show you sort of any aggression. You can just see them slowly feeding, quite content to be here, for us to be watching them. Amazing to see the family dynamics, these younger ones with all the older ones. Right now I can only see a mixture of females, but I'm sure we've got some young males around. Be interesting as soon as these 2 young ones sort of come out of the bush to see if they're males or females. So Imka, that is a really, really good question. And elephant herds will vary in size. So I'm sure you've seen some massive herds, and then you've seen some smaller ones. And what happens is that the elephants actually are broken up into smaller family units. So related females will stay together for life. And those ones can vary, like it really depends on the herd itself. But let's say a family herd or a related herd is maybe anywhere between 10 to 20 animals. And they will group up with other family units. And that can, change to get bigger and smaller as and when needed. So especially in times when they have to walk really far, when they migrate through large areas, you'll see a lot of family units bond together because they feel safer in larger groups. And that's when you see these massive herds. But you can also get smaller herds. So sometimes, even now, when there's a lot of food available, they don't have to travel too far, you'll see that the larger herd that you normally see are split into these smaller family units. And sometimes it just feels like maybe the matriarch of the one smaller family unit will decide to leave separate her family unit for a little while, just because maybe she decides a better place to feed is on another side of the reserve, or maybe she decides that her unit must go and find water. So it can vary, you know, quite significantly. But you can get massive herds. I mean, you can get up to 200 elephants at some stage. If you go into Botswana, you'll see the massive herds. I'm just watching off to our right because we do have one of the elephants coming a little bit closer. And I think this... We're just going to give a little bit of space, just so we give these animals as much space as they need. Oh, there we go. So we always try and keep 30 meters away from elephants, just so that they feel calm and we feel calm as well. You know, we don't want to invade their space. This is their land after all. So I'm just watching the behavior. You see this one on our right is a younger bull. Just as I was talking about the different sort of dynamics. And they're the ones that can often give us a bit more cheek than the rest of the herd. You can see that he's still got quite a pointed part on the top of his forehead, and that's slowly starting to smooth out. As he gets older, it's going to smooth out a bit more significantly, and you can see already he's separated from the rest of the herd. So anywhere between 14 and 20, the younger elephants will start to be pushed out by the females. Doozy, that is a really good question. Pregnant females tend to act quite normal, I must say. I don't want to say it's because females, we just, you know, handle our hormones better. Sorry, men. But they don't, I've never seen a heightened sense of aggression. In fact, they seem a bit more slow and a bit more, you know, less likely to act in an aggressive way. You'll often see them lying down. They seem really uncomfortable towards the end of their pregnancy. So I don't think they're too aggressive. I think they're just in a lot of pain and really couldn't be bothered with what you're doing. Like you said, the elephant the elephant bulls, they've got a hugely heightened sense of testosterone, and that's what's going to make them a bit more unpredictable. And it's also generally the younger males that are the most unpredictable. So like the male we were looking at earlier, you know, he's just starting to get to the age where he's going to be kicked out of the herd soon. In fact, we've got another young male coming towards us on the left. And as they start to get into that musty period, they are especially the ones that you've got to watch out for. Luckily, what they do is as soon as they're kicked out the herd, they'll often join an older bull, and he actually suppresses that must at the age when they're not able to handle it, and he will teach them how to control it. Now when you watch that, it's a really beautiful thing, because I've actually seen a male come up and put his trunk on another male, on one of the younger bulls that was misbehaving himself, and calm down instantly. So it's an amazing sort of relationship that they have. I'm just going to stay quiet for a while because this is really magnificent to listen to. Actually, I'm going to move out of the way of this elephant here. A little bit of space. You can see we're just going to give him a little bit of a fright there. But you can see he's not an aggressive elephant. He's just giving us a sign to say he would like us to give him a bit more space. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Shame. I think what happened was there was just quite a few vehicles that had to move at the same time. And the one younger, how big and tough he is. So we're going to continue to give them a bit more of space, and we're going to send you to another live location. Well, we're giving Tingana just a little bit more space. We took a quick
quick drive around and hope that when we came back, because we had to make space for another vehicle, hope that when we came back he had moved just so slightly so we could get a better view of him. While we can see a collection of rosettes, we can't really see his gorgeous face. But he's so close to camp, which means that we can come down and visit him at any time. So we are out here on quarantine, just south of our camp. Very, very close. In fact, I can see the building of camp from where we are. And this is the unusual site on quarantine, but I'll show you our usual suspects from on quarantine that are coming out on the left. And then I'll answer your question, Caleb. I think it was. There. It's our quarantine wildebeesties. I had a wonderful question from Caleb, and that was, what tree is Tingana in? I love trees. And the trees in Djuma are really special to me. So he is actually on the portion, so there's two trees growing alongside each other. We have a jackalberry and a marula. So the marula is this part that's the top. Very nice and green. All right. And then if we follow it down, you see at the bottom there's a darker green tree, and that's a jackalberry. But where he actually is, if we look at the limb that he is on, it is a limb of the marula. The jackalberry is just on the western side of this marula. I love when trees grow like this because there's so much variety almost. Now both of these trees are trees that leopards enjoy because they don't have any thorns and they're easy to get up for them. But I'm surprised that he didn't take it higher, because it's quite low. It's just about 2 meters off the ground, maybe even slightly less. Jax, that's a very interesting comment. You say that you think maybe hyenas will evolve to climb trees in 1,000 years, well, thousands of years. That's really interesting. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't, because maybe they get so much of their food from hunting on their own that it doesn't actually supplement their diet enough to climb up a tree. Maybe it's enough for them to just pick up the scraps at the bottom of a tree. But who knows? Also remember, some of the things that allow them to be what they are the things that would need to change a lot for them to climb the tree. Like having blunt nails. Sharp nails means that they can climb the tree. And blunt nails. I'm sure you heard the human baby. I can assure you that she's actually very, very cute. So we will smile at her. She keeps smiling at me and waving. So hyenas would need sharp nails in order to climb trees. At the moment they have blunt nails. They'd also need to lose a bit of weight. And their limbs would have to be even. At the moment, you know, their front limbs are quite much taller than their back limbs, and they need to even that out so they can actually climb properly. It's a lot of changes, but that can definitely happen. It just depends on how necessary it is, whether they so desperately need to scavenge when they're pretty successful hunters, which I think not. I think, if anything, they would evolve to, difficult thing, actually. I was going to say they'd evolve to hunt only, but in fact, then their teeth suggests that scavenging is a good way to go, because they can eat what others can't, and also it's a really great niche that other predators haven't taken advantage of. So, such interesting discussions. I love chatting about evolution and how animals become what they are and would in the future. Love it. So thank you for bringing up that question. Well, we're going to continue to sit here. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more quiet next time you come to us.
Jambo, and a warm good afternoon to everyone who's watching the show. We're here watching a lioness. My name is Tim, and behind camera is Big James. We are at the territory of the Mugoro, and it seems like this lioness is out here trying to hunt. She's been following some buffaloes, but then wondered why she was by herself following those buffaloes, but it seems like there might be another lad hidden in the long grasses and behind the bushes. So she's given up. I think she wants to try and rest. Yes. After a failed attempt, that is what they normally do. They'll walk to a place where they'll rest. And once they regain their energy, they start moving again. And I think at the moment, she just by herself, but I can watch some waterbucks who are staring over in the bushes, but I can't really tell whether there's a lioness there or a lion. You can see that waterbuck staring. Would there be a male thereby? You never know, actually, because I can't really tell by the sign of how that female waterbuck is watching or looking. You can see the ears pointing forward, so there's possibly a predator right there, but you can't really tell if it's a male or a female. But sometimes when you find a lioness, you always know it's easy to come up with a good guess, because lionesses will always hunt in a pair or lionesses alone. So it seems like that lioness might be with another partner. So my high guess is yes, there might be a lioness, but not a male lion. The waterbuck might lead us to a predator, so I'm just going to keep an eye on her and see what she'll come up with and what she'll find as I take you over to another live location. Good luck, Tim. Well, I'm here with my girls, and looks like they're very active now. They're up. They're looking. Look at that beautiful sight. Very healthy looking lionesses, only that they haven't had a meal maybe for a couple of days, or maybe a couple of, I'll say, a good number of hours. Not actually hours, but more than hours. They had something very big yesterday, so it's almost 36 hours. Look at that. the intensity in those eyes. I don't know what she sees. Definitely, she's trying to pinpoint something. Those eyes can see a good 1 mile away. And that look tells me definitely there is something that she's trying to pick. Maybe a tail of a warthog. Might be very obvious when you see it, but when it's walking through tall grass, it looks like grass. So you have to really concentrate and see it, if it's swaying more than the grass, and maybe hope to see part of the body. And so that is the intensity that she's trying to look. Amazing. The light is just perfect. I don't know if she's gonna start going, but this is a good time of day for them to start going out. Yeah, look at that. She's looking through the vehicle to the other side. They just stood up about 3 minutes ago, and looks like she sat down, but still facing in that direction that, she was looking. Well, I think there's something that's happening. There were 4 lionesses. Normally they go together with the 2 older cubs. And I think there's a lioness that has started walking backwards. Maybe it's going to fetch the 2 older cubs so that they can go down for a hunt, while this lioness tries to pick up something. Definitely there was something that caught her attention, and that's why she was looking. Very healthy looking, not a single scar. But we can tell that she's got that notch on the left ear. Few flies coming from inside the ear. Those flies are not that annoying to them because they try to, eat or suck that blood that was stuck on this, on the skin. So they're harmless. Definitely she's looking backwards. I think they're trying to find out or figure out where the cubs are, the older ones. There is another one, but you can't see her. She's not in the frame, but she's also looking in the same direction. Well, looks like they're still looking in that direction. Well, I think I'm going to change positions, and while I do that, let's take you to Lauren, who's got a silent segment. I hope you enjoy it.
still here with our lovely Tingana. All these swallows have descended. They look like barn swallows, have just descended upon quarantine. Very, very cool. We've been hearing the chip-chirr, the woodland kingfisher. We saw it for the first time this morning. I put it on camera for the first time this morning, which was very cool. I know it was during our silent time, but I couldn't not put it on. So I had to put it on and show you all and then be very excited in the vehicle, except you couldn't hear. But here we have our wildebeest. They've been snorting at the smell of Tingana. And Tingana is still busy feasting in his tree. I think we're going to return to him in about an hour because it is very busy and it's busy sighting. To see a nice male leopard is something that you don't see often, or the opportunity to have a good sighting or static sighting like this is not something that people get too often. Especially Tingana is very popular, as you'd imagine, with us and with everyone else. So everyone wants to get in and have a look. So it's really close to camp. I thought, let's go give others opportunity. We'll drive out. Maybe we'll have a look at where Thandi was this morning. Either way, it's quite a drive to that end. So we'll stop along the way for all the things we find interesting. The legs of this impala. So this is an adult. I couldn't see the head, but it's definitely an adult. The legs are dangling quite low, but Ruben doesn't seem to be too interested. I suppose it's because of Tingana. If this was Tlalamba, who had a kill like that with legs dangling so low, she would have been jumping up and trying her best to rip part of the carcass for herself. Anyway, we will see him later, but for now we're going to move off.
Just like Trishala's moving off, so is one of the elephant bulls swimming here at Leopard Dam after a good playing session with a bunch of its mates. And as you can see, that one there is just being drowned by his friend. Playful, of course. Luckily, he's got a very long trunk, so he can breathe even when he's underwater, regardless of the rough and tumble that he suffers at the hands of his buddies. Well, Leopard Dam is wonderful this afternoon, and so is the rest of Pride Lands Conservancy, which is where you're joining me, Mike, and BK behind the camera. It's a lovely afternoon, nice and warm after what was a very rainy morning. And a bit drizzly in the evening, lots of clouds, lots of wind, but it's all calmed down now, and it's actually very, very lovely. I'm expecting it to be a gorgeous sunset, and we're going to enjoy that sunset here with these lovely elephants. As you can see, they're playing very nicely. There was a whole bunch of them. In fact, we were clearing a tree a bit earlier, and it was actually one of the nicest tree clearing experiences I've ever had, because there were about 10 elephants all playing in the dam behind us as we were trying to remove the tree from the road. Super nice. This one's having a good old jousting session. You know, and there's always like the two older brothers playing. I don't know if anyone has brothers, but the two older brothers playing there, and then the younger brother's like, hey, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. Me. Angie, that is true to a certain extent. I know certainly that young elephants eat the dung of their mothers to gain the good stomach bacteria that they have in order to help digest the food that they eat. I'm not sure that an unhealthy elephant would eat a healthy elephant's dung. I'm not sure if it works that way, because what's in its belly is already there. But I suppose if you add more good bacteria, it might help to address the balance. I can't say for certain whether a sick elephant would eat a healthy elephant's dung, but certainly young elephants, baby elephants, will eat the dung of the mothers in order to get their bacteria. And that's the same for many animals. Many animals will do similar things. Coprophagy is what it's known as, to eat dung, or the droppings of other animals, or your own, in fact. So often things like scrub hares actually eat their own pellets. Once they've digested them once, they defecate, and then they eat that. It's like a paste. They eat that paste, and then what comes out is a pellet, which is what we normally find in the morning, a very pale, Smartie-shaped pellet, or Skittles, if you know what Skittles are. They certainly don't taste like Skittles. Not that I've tried them. Kind of have tried them a bit, but not really. We'll go into that later. But yeah, coprophagy is very common. Many animals will do it. Tortoises have been known to eat the scat of hyenas because of the high calcium content, because they need that for their shells and bones. Lots of vultures, especially hooded vultures, will eat the scat of other predators, especially the fresh scat, which has got lots of blood in it, because that's very nutritious for them. Just the sounds of the elephants swimming is so relaxing. There's a few birds also calling on. Might just enjoy it for a moment. You can hear there's actually a squirrel making an alarm call to the left of us. Now, last time I was here, I was with Seb and he spotted a black mamba coming out of the area, in fact, just to the left of us right now. So you never know if that mamba is still around here somewhere. I'll keep my eyes open. I don't want one to appear too close to us. I should like to spot it before it goes right beneath us. James, I think they probably do, to be honest. Elephants do a lot of things for fun. So a lot of what they're doing now, I mean, if they were just trying to cool down, they would just walk into the water and stand there. But these elephants are constantly jumping on each other and splashing and trumpeting and doing all sorts of stuff. So it's very playful behavior. I'm certain they splash each other every now and again. I know that they definitely use water and sticks and stones and other things to chase away things that they don't like. I've seen the elephants throwing mud at warthogs and splashing towards the birds to try and chase the geese away and all sorts of stuff like that. I've actually even suffered the attentions of one elephant here on Pride Lands that we know quite well, and some of you might have also seen it. Oh, look at this! There's a kingfisher. We won't be able to see it from this angle. That kingfisher's just flown into its hole. BK, did you see where it went? We'll try and go forward a moment and see if we can get a look at it. But yeah, there's an elephant that you might all know, or some of you, that we've affectionately named Susan. I think Taylor named it. And this elephant is very rambunctious, and she'll often come up to the vehicles, and she loves to throw sticks at the vehicle. It seems like she doesn't really know what to do. She's an elephant. I'm big, I'm strong. I should be able to chase this thing. But of course, we don't run away from the animals. We don't drive away from them because we don't want them to start chasing vehicles. And so she starts to lose her temper, and she throws a little bit of a tantrum, and she throws sticks at us often. So James, I'm sure they do splash each other for fun, and also sometimes out of playfulness and spite, maybe even a bit of spite. Oh wow, it seems like this one elephant's been left on his own, and he's just going to probably enjoy a bit of peace and quiet. You see how the ears are flapping still quite a lot. It's very muggy this afternoon. It's very humid. It's not like very, very hot, but you're definitely not going to be cooling down very quickly despite a little bit of a breeze because it's so humid. This elephant's still flapping his ears quite a lot in order to try and cool down his blood through those veins. Look at that. See, that is what I'm talking about. Unnecessarily weird behavior that elephants do. Like, what is the point of the elephant just basically doing a handstand? That's so weird, but undoubtedly very fun.
Welcome back to the mother. Our lioness is still resting, and she's only taking intervals just to wake up and scan and then return back to sleep. It's cooling off, so it's an advantage to her. I think soon she might be on the move. Whatever she was hunting or whatever she was going for seems like ran away because there's lots of water back around here, and I think they're the one who gave her away. So she's decided to rest.
And possibly she's not alone, by the look of how she's watching over that direction. There might be another lioness. So we'll just wait here to see if she'll head to where that other lioness is. Maybe they can go out to hunt again. She looks so keen. She looks like she might get up anytime soon. I'm still going to keep an eye on her and see what she's up to as I take you over to another live location.
Welcome back again. We are here with the little guys, the meerkat, very lovely little chaps. They are at the den where they stay. Apparently there is one of the female, the dominant female, she has got pups, and we're hoping as we're here we might see the pups, but we just have to be patient. The one that you've seen there, it's dominant female on the further side, and the dominant male just went inside. That's just an ordinary individual of the group, of the den. And what they do is, like, mostly there will be a babysitter to babysit while all the other ones go and feed. And the babysitter will just have to forage just around these burrows, and then let's say almost like, let's say, about 50 meters in a radius of these burrows. He doesn't have to go far away so that he can guard the burrows for snakes or maybe the African wildcat, not to eat the babies. And yeah, they're very good eyesight, this meerkat. They can see quite far distance, like almost like binocular vision. And then what they were doing is that each and every individual, if you're not doing anything, then you must be vigilant. Then one of them has to take guard. Thank you, John, for the question. Meerkat can live, you can get up to 50 individual. That is if there's not much of the mortality within the group, but they can get up to 40, 50. They can be a big group. As I was saying, they have, one of them has to take a vigilant, to take guard. And then when you take guard, you have to make sure it's a sacrifice that you have to make sure that each and every individual, it's under your protection, and you have to warn them before there's any predator that comes to attack. We're talking like predators. It would be jackals, African wildcat, snakes like puff adder, Cape cobras, and eagles, black-breasted snake eagles, those are the ones that will attack them. And quite fascinating with these little guys is that they Sinet, thank you for your question. I've never seen that. What I've seen is the eagles. Those are the ones that I've seen trying to get to the meerkat. As I was saying, let me just talk to you about the burrows. Is that the meerkat won't sleep in a burrow that has got a single entrance. The reason is the same with us human. You need an escape route. And then if each and every burrow that you see, it has got an escape route. There will be almost like 10 to 15 in and out entrance. And then, but if there's, they'll only use the single entrance barrow if there's the threat, just to go into that barrow and out, not to sleep, not for the babies inside. And what they do, some of the activities that they do on the den is they need to clean the barrows each and every in the morning and in the afternoon, because the barrows become infested with parasite, and if the parasite becomes more, the number of parasites accumulate into the barrows, then they will have to move to another barrow which is less parasite, while those other, the previous one, the parasite number goes down, then they'll go back again. But cleaning is one of the activities that they need to do each and every morning and afternoon, while others, if in winter, they will be standing, warming up their body just before foraging, and coming back also they need to warm up their body before foraging. And they are very territorial. The dominant male, he has to make sure that he's very protective for the clan. And yeah, they need to be protective. Okay, I'm gonna let you to another site, and then we're hoping that we might have the pups coming up.
So we have moved away from Tingana for now. Like I said, it's quite busy, and we've been lucky to come to the den. And all our cubs to be out and about, and Heart is there as well. I think it's just one of those days where everything that we try and visit is active. Everything is happening. My friends have come to greet me. Hello, you guys. You know, for you, I'm sure, especially those people who are fans of hyenas, how amazing it is to see this. I can't tell you what this feeling is like. It is indescribable. They look at me like they know me. And all of them just staring at me, being, so curious. Hi. Hi, Ngwazi. It's such a special feeling. It's actually quite a ridiculous thing. I would have never imagined that one day I'd be walking down from the vehicle. So this morning, let me tell you a story, which is what I couldn't imagine doing. So this morning I walked down when we were doing the silent safaris. I was taking some stuff to draw with while I was there. So then I remembered, I forgot a brush. So I come off the vehicle and I walk down to my room, but it also happens to be Swazi and Ndebele who decided they're going to come visit camp. And they had this look on their faces as if they were kind of like, oh, I'm 2 minutes early, the humans are still here, and we can't raid their camp, but the humans still... Anyway, so they had this swag as they were walking down. So they walked down, and then they turned into the bush. So then I was like, okay, so I'm going to go down and get my paintbrush. I hop off, and then we had this awkward moment, the three of us, where Swazi and Ndebele and I were walking in the same direction, but didn't really want to know each other. We weren't looking at each other. It's like we know you, but we don't want to associate. And I'm walking, they're just walking alongside, kind of giving me the side eye, and one even walked straight down to the room as if she knew, Ndebele, as if she knew that's where I live. Of course she didn't. They were probably looking for something, looking for scraps. But the types of experiences we get with hyenas is just incredible, unbelievable, ridiculous. It's one of those things, if you come to Africa, there's so many things you've got to do, but the two things I need you to do, you need to taste marula fruit, and you need to visit hyenas and get to know them, because they are so not this devilish creature or whatever horrible reputation they have. Absolutely not. Dennis, you would like to know if hyenas smell, as in, do they stink? Because they certainly do smell with their big broad noses. Do they have a bad smell? Do they stink? They have the smell of a wet dog, a dirty wet dog. So it's not terrible, it's not completely unfamiliar, but it's not pleasant either. Now they have moved over to that end. Heart is still there. Okay, let's just back up a little bit and we'll be able to see them. I've been having one of those hyena appreciation days. Honestly, this morning was so cool. I didn't have my phone on me, so I couldn't take a video and show it to you all. But that was also special because I could just, be in that moment and not try to advertise it or, capture it. And when they come up to the vehicle, it is quite a special thing because it's almost as if they're greeting me. Hello, munchkins. If you were wondering, there's no sign of the tortoise that was once here. Look at them, look how they go. And surprisingly, they don't do this to other vehicles. Michelle, which you met as a guest on my vehicle, the general manager, a couple days ago. He always wags his finger at me and says, "Are you feeding them? Why do they keep following you?" I say, "No, I must smell a little bit like them." Okay. Hello, little. We're going to sit here for a little bit longer. We're going to sit here for a little longer. As I told you, I wanted to go to Torchwood and check out whether Tandy and Cub were still around, and I think, in fact, they are. But it's a long way, and I wanted to stop along the way and, see other cool stuff, and I think this was a cool stop. But we will still sit here for longer.
Welcome back to and Beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, and what an afternoon we are having. We've left that elephant herd, which is being really fun and playful, and we managed to spot this beautiful female cheetah. You can see her just walking through the grass right in front of us. And if you watch the pace that she's walking at, and look at how she's looking around the entire time. She's walking with a huge amount of purpose. Now, take note of that massive belly as well. We've been trying to figure out if maybe she's just fed on something or if she perhaps is pregnant and might actually be looking for a den site. And that's what we're leaning towards at the moment. She's come to the section of the reserve that's really open. It's actually one of the places that our cheetah do tend to den when they come here. It's actually like a more favored spot. And that's what I think she is doing at the moment. We've got 3 females on the reserve that have cubs at the moment, and we've got 2 other females which are just getting to breeding age. I haven't heard of a pregnant female, but we haven't seen those 2 other females for a while. They do tend to be a little bit more elusive. We're just going to keep going forward because she keeps walking down this road. We're going to get a better view of her now. But I'm really hoping it's one of those females that we just haven't seen for a while. And we might be seeing some new cheetah cubs on the reserve really soon. I'm just going to get right up ahead of her. She's going to come out into the open now, and we're going to get a beautiful view of her here. In fact, you know what? I think it is one of those younger females. Look at the back of her neck. You can actually see a little bit of hair that's a little bit longer, which shows that she is younger. She's just walking past one of our staff villages at the moment, so maybe some of the ladies there are going to get a nice view of this beautiful female cheetah. And actually, if you look at her belly, she does have swollen teats. You can just see them poking out there. So I really think that we might have a denning female. We are just giving her a little bit more space because obviously, you know, we want her to feel comfortable and not too worried. She is keeping a lookout. You can see her head swinging from left to right. She's got to keep her senses heightened, always keeping a lookout for any potential predators around here. Hopefully she's finding some spot to den. It's amazing. It's quite difficult to actually keep up with her when she's walking at this pace. And she's going to go into the thicket now. We might actually lose sight of her. You can imagine this pace. It's quite difficult to keep up ahead of her. So we're going to try and loop around and see if we can get another view for you. We actually got some giraffe in the distance as well, which are going to might give her position away to some other animals around the area. So while we're trying to get a better view of this female, we're going to send you to another live location, and hopefully we'll be able to get a better view. Be back with you soon.
We couldn't really get a better view of this elephant because he's standing right on the road in front of us, feeding on a bit of a knob thorn that he's pulled over. And it was one of the elephants that was playing in the water a little bit ago. It's a nice elephant. It's got pretty big tusks, although he's not a very big elephant. The tusk quite thick, especially the right tusk. It's not a very long tusk, but it's very thick and very strong looking tusk. Definitely looks like it uses its right tusk a lot more than its left. The left tusk is quite slender and very sharp. See, it's even using it right now, in fact. See what it did there? It pressed the right tusk against the trunk, or rather pressed the trunk against the tusk. Goodness gracious me, I am tongue twisting myself all over the place. But yes, they squeeze the trunk against the tusk and pull off the leaves from the tree. I can't go closer. If I go closer, we'll be very close to the elephant. And it's always better to allow elephants to approach you rather than to approach them. Let them do stuff on their own terms, and that way they feel a lot more comfortable. This elephant looks very comfortable. I've spoken about it before. Soft eyes on an elephant. See how this elephant here has soft, gentle-looking eyes, downcast, just focusing on his food, quite relaxed and feeding. When you see their eyes open very widely, and you're sometimes even seeing the whites of the eye, that's when you know you're pushing the elephant into an uncomfortable place. This elephant looks very relaxed. And this tree is bright and green with fresh leaves, so it's really delicious. And although it's covered in thorns, this elephant's tough skin means that it doesn't feel any of the pain of the spikes, and it's just getting a delicious meal. Good man.
Welcome back to the Mara. We were just following a hippo and he's just went back to the water. He's a big hippo. He's a big hippo that was ousted out from the Pride area, from the mine prime area where he used to be. But you can see right now he is very, very shy. He was out in the open and then all of a sudden it just ran back into the water. There's just two there. So I think he is shy because I could see many scars. Look at his neck. He's got scars on his neck. Seems like he was in a big fight before he settled here. Very, very nice. He's getting out now. I think he's comfortable to walk out of the pond. So at dusk, that is the time they get out of the water to go out and graze. So it's beginning to rain, and I'm sure he'll pretty much enjoy it because of the soft grass. Our hippo is wandering off into the open grassland, so I'm going to take you over to another live location.
So welcome back. As you can see, we've managed to get a better view of this cheetah. We've been really lucky. She walked through all of that thicket open area and managed to find a little stream right in front of us, and she's now leaning down to have a look. Shame, you can see she's very alert. She's moving her head from side to side. You can imagine she feels very vulnerable. It's quite thick around her if you have a look at those bushes. So she's just being very wary of anything sneaking up on her. She's having a little drink there. Amazing to see that sort of profile of the cheetah, those long, lanky limbs. That arch at the back was beautiful to see. Shame, you can see she is quite nervous. You can imagine she feels incredibly vulnerable. Cheetah, especially the females, they'll be by themselves for the majority of their life. Once they get to 17 or 18 months, they split off from their parents. And then the females will stick with their siblings for a few months, but eventually get driven by their urge to mate. And then from then on, they'll be by themselves until they actually manage to have cubs. So she's completely reliant on her own senses for her safety. So that's why you see her being very alert. But it is wonderful to see this behavior from a cheetah. Their populations have dwindled down to about 5,000 left in the wild. And cheetah like this that are surviving on Big 5 game reserves, we've got 3 separate prides of lions here. We've got lots of leopards on the reserve. We've got packs of hyena. So she's done incredibly well to survive to this stage. And it's exactly because of this kind of behavior that we're watching now. Her picking her head up, being really alert, that's kept her alive this whole time. So it's really wonderful to see her acting, so alert. And you can imagine how tiring that is, because she has to keep that up all the time, every moment of every day. She's got to stay alert. And I remember just before we last left you, we were talking about whether or not she might be pregnant. Wolfie girl, cheetahs, they don't dig dens, but they do have den sites. So what she would be doing, if we're right in saying that this female's actually denning or looking for a place to den, she's going to try and find sort of a thicket area or a really big clump of grass. And she'll actually have her cubs in that. Now, the whole goal is to try and keep them hidden from anything else. It's an amazing adaptation that these cheetah have, is that when they sort of give birth, their cubs actually don't produce a sense of smell. So something that walks along has to either see the cubs or it has to hear them. It's not going to smell them. And it's a really smart adaptation, because looking at her now, if we're right in saying that she is pregnant, she's probably close to the end of her gestation. It's about just around about 100 days gestation. And it's a very short gestation. All the cats have very short gestations compared to antelope, because they can't be pregnant for very long. You can already see how that big, heavy belly is making her movements, a little bit more limited. She's got to rely on her speed to catch her prey, so she can't have this big heavy belly for long. So they have a very short gestation. The majority of the sort of growth of their offspring takes place outside of the womb once they've given birth in that den site, and then they will be able to hunt and come back and suckle those cubs. So that's what she's looking at the moment, something that's well hidden where she can hide those cubs, and then she'll go off and hunt and come back and suckle them. cheetah have anywhere from 2 to 6 cubs. I've heard of 6 cubs being had before. In fact, on Pinda, we've had 6 cubs once. So they have generally quite a high number of cubs, and it's because they have a low mortality. A high mortality. So, often at least half of the cubs don't make it to adulthood. In fact, the statistics much higher in other reserves. And it's just because they're very low on the predator food chain. They're very high risk of having conflict with lion, leopard, hyena. So they do tend to have more cubs because the chance of all of them making it to adulthood is very low. So if you look at lion and leopard, they'll often have fewer cubs than cheetah will. It would be amazing if she had a large litter of cubs and we could see 6 little cheetahs running around. Now, this being said, I'm still not 100% sure if she is pregnant. It is my own sort of assumption here. The alternative, because she does look like she's fed. If you look at her head now poking up, you can see a little bit of red around the front. And she's also got a bit of blood on sort of the front of her legs there. She's walking towards us now. So she has fed, but just by the way her belly is shaped, it looks like it's sunken in a bit by the back legs there, by the ribs. And it also looks like she's got swollen teeth. So I personally think she is pregnant. She could have had a very big male, and we might be mistaken here. But also the fact that she doesn't have cubs, probably one of our females that hasn't had cubs at the moment, that's looking to have cubs quite soon. So let's hope that's the case. We're going to send you to another live location and just sit and appreciate this for a little while and see if we can stay with her.
This may look familiar, but it's not Tingana, it's Lalamba, not very far from where Tingana was. So let us explain what has just happened this afternoon. We came out, saw the kill, hung around, searched around, found Tingana. When Tingana got into that kill, he was hissing and snarling quite a bit, and I suspected that there may be another leopard around. So he's basically just west of where she is now. We can't see him, but west of where she is now. Then we left Tingana so that we could let others have a spot there. Went down to move towards Torchwood. We thought it was a long drive, we'll stop for whatever is along the way. Went to the hyena den, had that wonderful segment with them. Then Hart left, so we left, and we thought, maybe if we go to Torchwood and come back, then, there'll be all this wasted time in between. Let's come this way, and then Tlalamba was found just east of Tingana. It's just one of those beautiful days when you get the most. Sightings are so easy to come by. It's not as if they're ridiculously epic sightings, although they always are, in a sense. But, we just get to see a variety, not just stick with one animal, but get to move around and see really, really exciting things. Things that we normally spend so much time searching for. I love it. I absolutely love it. What it makes me feel like is, what else can we look forward to today? This evening? Who knows? This kill is fresher than the kill that Tingana had. So she's obviously been roaming. Just imagine, they know they're within certain proximity to each other. I'd say maybe within 300 meters of each other. Exogenesis, that is quite an extreme question. You'd like to know how many kills will a leopard make in their lifetime? Okay, let's put the average lifespan at 12. They can live for longer than that. 15 is generally, last legs, but even then they can still stretch it past that, but it's rare. 13 to 15 is generally what's quoted, so let's take 13 as the average amount. Let's take what the basic amount of kills per year is, which is 20. So that would be 260 kills per lifetime of an average leopard if they just wanted to make it. But then also, if you're making 20 kills a year, you're probably not going to live till 13. But that was the basic number of kills per year that one paper estimated. I'm going to estimate that a leopard takes at least a kill a week. Let's put it I think it's more than that. I think it's 2, especially in this area. But let's say a kill a week. 52 weeks, 13 years, 676 kills averagely on a lifespan. I'm not some crazy maths calculating person. I have a calculator out, just so you know. That is a lot of kills, and those are just big kills, because all the little things that they kill along the way, those don't get counted, do they? Unbelievable. I'm just so kind of not surprised that she's close by, but also so excited that we got to see 2 leopards so close as usual. Well, we're going to stick around with her for just a little bit longer. Look at that gorgeous face. And then see if this gets busy, see what happens.
So after looking for some other things this afternoon and coming across absolutely nothing, we've decided to make our way over to the Lion Pride, which are exactly where they were seen this morning. And this time there's a little bit more activity. Have a look at that lioness. She's starting to groom her front paws. She was licking her lips. Interesting to know this is the first thing she's done, because she's just picked up her head. Just to look in the direction of a small pan or seasonal watering hole, just to see if there might be some animals around. And what's interesting is that she's also the mother of that little one there at the back, who's still fast asleep. Not a worry in the world. You can see it's got its paw on one of the larger subadult lions. Imagine that sense of security at this stage. Only real bother is flies. If I'm getting the name correctly, R2, is it possible for cubs from the same litters to have different dads? Yes, that is very possible. With cats, it's been studied, and they have found that one litter of cubs can have multiple fathers. With this lioness, I'm not sure whether that is the case or not. The two cubs do look a little bit different. One is slightly paler than the other one. A young male. Another one's just woken up. I think it had a little prompting there from the flies, and you can see snaps up in the airs just to get rid of them, trying to look at that. If you look carefully, you'll notice the flies around her face and around her belly. And there we go, that little one, the same. So that's the young male. You can see he looks pretty wide awake at the moment. Probably looking into the distance to see if there's any movement. Say, do lions ever eat fish? I'm sure if they get them, they'll definitely eat some. I've seen young lions play with a half-eaten piece of fish, a sharp-toothed catfish from the leftovers of a fish eagle kill. They nibbled on it, so I'm sure if they get the chance they'll eat fish, but they don't actively fish. Unless there's an opportunity where fish might be trapped in a small puddle, they'll probably go for it. I have seen leopard go after catfish that's trapped in the last little bit of mud after a watering hole dries up. And lions have been known to do similar things. I've never seen them do it, but I'm sure a predator is opportunistic fish in that case. That's a good meal. Just have a look at the size of that paw. Now something's drawn its attention, and that's because I heard a bit of a yawn, and look at the excitement. You can see some calling going on. There's a bit of bonding. Now she's walking over to that old lion nest there. And just look at that. I always find it interesting when we watch it like this. The young lions are usually the first ones to start getting up and being more active. I'm sure they have more energy. They have a higher metabolic rate. And this is also the new generation where that lioness off to the left is quite old at this stage. So I think we'll sit with them and see if things get more active over the next few minutes.
Still here with Lalamba, and now I'm torn. So we have two leopards that we know so well, so close to each other, but who shall we spend the time with? What would you prefer? Would you prefer that we spend the next half an hour with Lalamba and then spend the last half an hour with Tingana? Or the other way around, or jump between, because they're so close. If you have an opinion, let me know what you think would be a good idea, because they're really close, and that means that we can jump between them, plus there's space at either one of them. So let me know what you think. I'm just excited that we get to see them both. I'm also very excited because I know in the space between both those sightings, there's a lot of bushes that could potentially have chameleons. I know this may seem like an insignificant sighting at the time when you're thinking about a sighting between Tingana and Tlalamba, but trust me, it can break up the whole experience very nicely. At least I think so. Gorgeous. There's a hyena underneath at the base of the tree as well, but I can't see who it is, and we can't see it very well right now. Travel Pete, you would like to know if Karula is still in the area? No. As far as we know, and I say that because we haven't seen Karula dead, but Karula has been missing for quite a while. I think it was... No, I can't be sure when it was that Karula went missing. I'm just trying to think. I know you've already got it down. I know that you guys already got it down. I'm trying to remember when it was and she went missing. It was long before I started here. Fortunately, another vehicle is in front of us, so we can't see the bit of the carcass that fell there. It was in 2016, but I can't remember when in 2016 that Karula went missing. And it's unfortunate because I didn't ever get to meet her. But yeah, it was definitely 2016 because I'm pretty sure it was, I know it was after Hassan and Shongile were born, soon after she had disappeared. All right, the other vehicle has moved and now we have a good view of the hyenas at the bottom. One is June. Can't tell who the other is, but we'll have a look at them a little bit later when you come back to me. But I'm going to send you over to Lauren. She's with those lions, I think, still. Let's go and enjoy ourselves with a nice silent segment at the lions.
they've just got up. This lioness has just had a drink. Now, looks like she might be moving back towards the rest of the members. And then my suspicion is that they might head back towards the area where they've had their meal. And the reason why I think that is because there were lion tracks all over this area, and we haven't seen any of the other males or the other lionesses. And those younger lions probably have a bit more stamina. They are waiting until the old lioness comes back, and then they might start moving in the direction that that lioness is facing. Or they might just lay down for a little while longer. I think that young lioness there was probably hoping for a little bit more activity and movement, maybe even a bit of attention. But I do see that that lioness off to the left is picking up her head every now and again. And it looks like she's picking up a scent from there. Maisie, at what age would the lion start hunting? This age that those sub-adults are at this moment. So anything from about 1.5 to 2 years. They have the instinct from when they're very young, and they'll even try and attempt hunts on smaller creatures. But actively hunting with a pride, usually between 1.5 to 2 years, that's when the older lionesses start teaching them the skill properly. Before then, they mainly learn throughout their play. But in this case, that's quite a tough time for the pride in general, because along with the vast amounts of learning happening at each hunt, it also means that the pride success rate drop a little bit. These younger members are not as skilled yet. They're not as used to it. They're not always sure what to do, and sometimes it's just the sheer excitement that gets them going. You can see they all have their heads up. They are facing different directions, but they're quite curious. It looks like you can hear some contact calling coming from that side, and I think those lions are wanting to move off into the block somewhere there.
Welcome back to And Beyond Pinder Private Game Reserve. We decided to leave that female cheetah. She started heading off into a thick area, and we thought we'd leave her alone for the evening. And we've come across another female predator. You can see our very sleepy lioness lying right out into the open. It's actually a wonderful contrast because we've managed to see all 3 cats this afternoon. We had that young female leopard lying in a tree, and then we had that female cheetah that was walking around, very alert, walking with a lot of purpose. And now we've come across the biggest of the 3, the lioness, and you can see how different the behavior is. Actually wonderful to compare. She's just lying out in the open. Her head hasn't lifted once. She's completely fast asleep, hasn't bothered to even try and conceal herself in any way, shape or form. She stands out like a sore thumb in this sort of scenery. You can see that very, very light coat, completely contrasting with the green around her. And she is quite happy because she knows she's at the top of the predator food chain, and there's nothing she really has to worry about right now. She seems quite exhausted. I think what's happened is that this female has had a really busy afternoon. What I heard from one of the other rangers, she was actually active during the middle parts of the day. So perhaps, she was deciding to try and take her chances and hunt when it was a bit hotter. Doesn't seem like she's been very successful. And she's now just found a nice, easy place to rest. And she's resting. I think she's taking a well-deserved break. Gamu, the best way to tell is actually just to look at the bellies. Now, with cheetah it can be a bit difficult because the rib cage is so massive, so they often have larger bellies. So I always like to look towards the back legs and see how sunken in it is there. It will be more concave towards the back legs, and that's when you can see how hungry they are. It's generally quite easy to see with lions because they either have a very very protrude, their belly's like either very full and very big, or you can see that they're starting to get hungry. They do sort of feast when they've got a kill. You'll actually see they eat as much as they possibly can, so they are incredibly engorged when they have a fresh kill. It's difficult at this distance, but even from here I would say she doesn't have a belly that's sort of going up over the top of her body. So even at a distance, if she's lying down and she had such a full belly, you might even see it sort of sticking out in front of the top of her profile. So I think she's starting to get a bit hungry, and also based on the behavior, the fact that she was seen walking around during the day means that she's starting to get a bit hungry. She's starting to try and find, opportunities to hunt. If I'm correct, this is the one lioness with the 2 smaller cubs, so she will have to hunt a bit more frequently and try and get enough food for all of them. Prasanna, flies are an unfortunate part of nature, for these animals, and they do have some adaptations to help them get rid of the flies, but they do actually tend to just have to deal with them. So if we're watching her, I can't see any activity that's showing she's surrounded by flies, which means that she probably hasn't fed very recently. She doesn't have anything that's attracting them. What we would look for when we're looking to see if flies are bothering them is you would actually see their ears flick quite a bit, and their tails as well. So their tails would be flicking, their ears would be flicking, and they even manage to twitch their skin quite a bit. So if the flies are bugging them, you can actually see they've got this amazing adaptation where their skin actually twitches a little bit. And then that sort of scares the flies away, as well as the ears and the tail. And it's something that you'll see very often out in the wild. And in fact, part of our training at And Beyond is when we're training to become rangers, we do walk around the reserve from sunrise to sunset for 9 days. We follow these pre-planned routes, and the idea is that you're supposed to get very comfortable with your own awareness. You're supposed to realize that ultimately, when you become a qualified ranger, you are in control of the safety of yourself and your guests, and you need to be comfortable that you are aware and you know how to handle yourself in the bush. really amazing nowadays. Any ranger you speak to will always talk so fondly of those days and say it was without doubt the best part of their training. But what I do remember from that is the flies. I really felt incredibly sorry for all the animals, because I realized that these flies do not leave you alone once you start sweating out in the bush. They will try and get into any sort of orifice, whether it be your eyes, your ears, your nose, and they're incredibly hard to chase away once they've found you. So that is why you often see animals flicking their ears and their tails, and it's because they've got these pesky little flies trying to feed off of that little bit of sweat or a little bit of the remains of a kill or something around their head. So what we might do is we might spend about another 5 minutes here, see if she gives us any sign of life. If not, we're going to head on and see what else we can find. There's this girl, slinking downwards. Back to the carcass. It's just been an incredible day of sightings for us. On Juma today, it's really been incredible. And Lauren with the Telematis and Buffelshoek as well. It must truly be raining sightings, if silent sightings. Oh! That's a little bit awkward, you cute thing. Silly girl. Oh! The sound as she moves on the tree and down from the tree, because it is very distinctive. You hear that? Tuk, tuk, tuk. Has to be one of the favorite moments. Oh, she's now, you can't see her, she's stopped and sat. Is rubbing her face in some dung and soil. Just there, so we can't see her, and I can't move because she's literally sat down in front of the car. Just my face for now. Lalamba, Taylor would like to know how old you are. I was born in November of 2017. Taylor, she's 3 years old. There she goes, finally, up and out. Hyenas fighting in the background. Can you hear the squealing? One of two things is going to happen. Either she's going to drink at the nearby pan, or she's going to see her father. Both of which I would be very excited to see. Oh, there's my hand. Hello, hand. Shall we follow? I just like to give her a bit of distance before we come crashing through, because as you can see, there's a lot of strychnos all over the place. Black monkey orange. In fact, I've got a strychnos handbrake here. Fortunately, you can't see it. That was my handbrake. It just broke. Not my for real handbrake. See that lug, that thing there? It was next to me as if I had an additional handbrake. Anyway, I'm going to follow her, and then
Hopefully we'll catch up and see whether she's going to drink or whether she's going to join her father.
So welcome back. Our luck continues. How incredible is this? As we headed away from that lioness, we found these two male cheetah, and you can see, look at their posture. See how the one on the left is standing up? And listen, I just want you to listen in the distance. You can hear alarm calls off to the left. So there's wildebeest and impala alarming on the hill. I can actually see them directly ahead of us. They're all looking off to the left. And that's alerted these cheetah to the fact that there is something. Now, Mako is a second developed. So there's something, another predator that's caught those wildebeest and impala's attention off to our left. And I'm not quite sure what it is. Could be another cheetah. Could be a lion. We're not entirely sure. But it is something that these cheetah need to pay attention to. You know, because if it is another predator coming into the area, they need to be really high on alert. They're really very close to this lioness, you know, only a couple 100 meters. It's quite interesting as I'm looking back and I actually can't, oh no, I think they can actually see her from where they are. Head on Chewy Loop from Pundamalia. This is just amazing, I tell you. It's one of those sightings where you sit and there's just so much going on around you. Look at these cheetahs' behavior. And we don't know what's walking towards them. It's such an action-packed afternoon. Like there's a surprise around every single corner. And luckily these males, if you have a look at the area where they've positioned themselves, they're right out in the open. You know, they've got plenty of space to spot something. Look, I think it actually might have seen something. Look at that, their behavior now, looking straight ahead. Ears spread wide. They've got plenty of space to actually spot something that could be a potential threat to them and get themselves away, which is what the cheetah rely on. If you have a look at them, you can see they've got tiny little heads. Their bones are very small. They've got virtually no muscle on those front legs. You know, everything's built to be lightweight. Look at that male looking at us. He's got a tiny jaw, tiny teeth. They've just got nothing in the way of defense. What we might actually do is we might go and see what those wildebeest were alarming at and see if there's anything up ahead, because I don't think these males are going to go anywhere anytime soon. She's come to the near pan for a drink. I don't know what it is. There's something so special about the sun setting, the evening almost upon us, and having a leopard come drink here. Stunning. If you all don't mind, after we watch her have this drink, if she goes back to the kill, let's see. But after this, I'd like to go to Tingana.
really wonderful sounds. There's cicadas, frogs, hearing some birds. I can even hear the woodland kingfisher occasionally in the background. Oh, stuck in bed asking me about favorites. That's dicey. But you'd like to know if I have a favorite leopard? I do. And it's the typical. It's like asking somebody in the 90s if they had a favorite pop singer. Michael Jackson would be the answer. It's Hosanna. I love Hosanna so much. I so desperately wanted to see him again. But he was the leopard that we had, we all had such a special bond with. And I love him very, 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 very much. I'm going to watch what this girl does. And then while there's still some light, I want to go to Tingana so we can get a nice, good view of him before we have to go into infrared. So either way, when you see me again, I'll have a leopard.
What we have here is a Temminck's courser, and you can't see it easily because it's moving in the grass, so normally we don't spot them. But we had very sharp eyes, and we just spotted it, and this one is actually doing a display. Do you see what it's doing? Bobbing its body up and down and keeping its head exactly still. This is exactly what a Temminck's courser will do to attract its female. There's two here, male and female both look basically the same. And they're eating insects, so it's displaying to its female whilst running through the grass, chasing little insects. You saw the insect fly off there. They love short grass, open areas like this, often also in burnt areas. But look at it dancing. This is the first time I've ever seen this before. It's really, so it's got that rusty brown color on the front, the Temminck's courser, and it bobs its body up and down whilst fluffing out its feathers, and that's probably very attractive to the females. See what it's doing, catching the eye of the insects, catching the insects, and then quickly running off to get the next one. Watch. It's going to do a display again. Oh, it does it nicely at the open. So what it's doing there, it's getting some preen gland oil, which will then rub through its feathers. Right now it's looking for where the mate is. There were two of them. And you see the one for now. Temminck's courser. What's going to do it? Oh, no. Such a cool little bird. Not often seen at all, and mostly nocturnal, to be honest. They love these open grass clearings. Since the first two that I've seen here on Pride Lands, hopefully we're going to get
area. And Now we have the whole pride on patrol. The younger ones with more enthusiasm and energy up front. You see that one lioness was looking back, and that's the reason why. These two little ones are trailing behind. That looks like the young female. And what's interesting here is with lions, even though we do see the concern in that lioness for her youngsters, just picked up a little bit of pace. Catch up. And I was just going to say that even though there is some compassion between the pride members, there's also like a type of understanding amongst the pride members that they know in order to be part of this pride, they have to keep up. And the direction that they're heading to is straight towards water, but they've been stopping as they move through this clearing to listen out. They look like they might go down to the left of the road at one point, and I thought that it might be because they had something there that they were eating earlier. And I think we might just try and reposition or see if we might get a better view.
Welcome back, and our luck continues. I almost can't believe it myself, but if you can see, we've got 3 black rhino in the distance. We came off to see what those impala were alarming at. They seem to have gone quiet. There certainly wasn't what they were alarming at, but it is an amazing sighting nonetheless. In the distance you can see 3 beautiful black rhino, very, very rare for us to see these, and it's even better to see so many together and out in the open. I mean, they do like those sort of low-lying bushy areas, and they're just on the outskirts right now, giving us quite a fantastic view. And what's even more amazing is that they seem to be interacting. Now, you can see those 2 are pushing each other. Look at that. How incredible is that? They're actually pushing each other with their horns. It seems like if you look at it, there's one on the left seems a little bit smaller than the one in the middle. I think it might be a mother with her older calf, and she seems to be pushing another black rhino away. Perhaps an inquisitive young male that's giving her a bit of trouble. We can actually hear them clashing from this distance. This is quite phenomenal. It doesn't seem to be too aggressive. They do seem to be stopping every now and then. I think perhaps maybe not a young male. Now that I'm seeing them up against each other, the one on the right seems to be a bit bigger. So I'm thinking perhaps a fully grown male that might be interested in this female. Perhaps he's caught the scent that she's gone into estrus. You know, the one on the left is slightly smaller than her, which makes me think it's an older calf. So possibly at the age where she's already going back into estrus and is ready to mate again. He might have caught the scent and followed her for ages and is now trying to sort of curry favor with her, and she's still pushing him away. So Pat, the difference from here is going to be quite difficult to see. Now, what caught me immediately is the back. So white rhino have 3 very prominent humps on their back, which almost makes sort of a W shape. And the black rhino only have two. They have one behind their neck and they have one at the very back. So they've got quite a concave middle. And then when they turn and face us, I want you to have a look at the head itself. Now they've got a pointed jaw, which is different from the white rhino, which have a very square jaw. They also lift their heads much higher. So that is something to have a look out for. Now the size as well is quite different. Black rhino are actually quite smaller than white rhino. They weigh about 1.6 tons, whereas white rhino weigh anywhere between 2 to 3, sometimes 3.5 tons. So they can be quite significantly bigger. Absolutely beautiful. So the name is a bit misleading. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the color of their skin. So they've got the exact same colored coat, and it comes from when they first found white rhino. They called it wit rhino, which is the Afrikaans word for wide, and it's because of their wide jaw. And then someone heard white, which is how they became known as the white rhino. And then when we found the black rhino, we then said, okay, well, what's the opposite of white? It's black. And that's how they got their name. So we've got oh my word, he's mating. He's mating, look at that. He's mounting that female. That's exactly what's happening. This is incredible. If you have a look, you can just see the one rhino on the back of the other one. How unbelievable is this? I have never... I'm just as excited as everyone else. This is the first time I've ever seen this. I've never seen black rhinos mate. I cannot believe what we are witnessing right now. This is absolutely unbelievable. And this is quite an experience. Now, rhinos can mate for up to half an hour, so hopefully he's able to hold on for quite a while. You can see the female is being reciprocal. She's waiting there quite patiently. So we actually saw the courting, and we are now seeing the after product. They've got incredibly high fertility, so often they will only mate once, and that will result in a calf. This is just unbelievable. So you can see that male is just trying to make sure he maintains his balance. She's being very still. And I'm pretty sure this is going to result in a calf. So what's going to happen? Oh, he's going down. Oh, they're running off. Jackie, I've never heard of rhino twins before, I have to admit. Not that I've ever heard of. You can imagine it's an incredibly long gestation and very large offspring. So not that I've ever heard. Maybe some of our viewers have heard of twins being had before, but nothing that I've ever heard of. How incredible. That male's run off. The female's now just walking off with her calf. And that's exactly it. He courted her. He's mated with her. She might be pregnant. It might have might all that's taken. And I think what we'll do is we'll leave them to it. But amazing. I've got such a big smile on my face. I hope all of us enjoyed that as much as I did.
And right there at the back where that one's laying down now, of water. So they've moved along the road all the way down here. Now they're all stopping and staring in different directions. And my guess is that they are listening every time they stop. Not just for animals nearby, but also for the calls of other members of the pride. Have a look at the determination in that look. And that's the mother of that young one. Shame, I think the little one is quite thirsty at this point, so is that old lioness. Every now and again there was a little bit of a trot to try and keep up. And I was just thinking to myself now, like, I wonder what the amount of energy is that those little lions will burn during one evening's moving about like this. Because a big lioness like that one can cover quite a few kilometers throughout the night. It's amazing to see how the larger and older lions are all in tune, all looking in the same direction. And it should be very interesting to see where they go from here.
Welcome back to Tswalu. We got two black-backed jackal, just relaxing just after a bit of rain that we just had, just warming up their body, just lying there, admiring their own issue. These black-backed jackals, they're mostly active during the night. Sometimes they will be active at daytime, but mostly it's during the night. And then they will hunt. The male and the female, they'll be paired for life, unless if one loses one. But I suspect there we might have a male and a female there. And as we know that jackals, they've been prosecuted quite a lot with livestock and the other thing is that jackals, we know that they're scavengers and they will eat carcasses. They will take over from carcasses from meat from other predators. Even when the carcass is rotten, they will still eat on them. Okay, we got an activities there. I don't know what's happening. Okay, just taking another position of just lying down. Okay, we're gonna take you to another location. That's it. Misty, I've been doing this drive for 17 years. If there's no question, we'll take you to another location.
We are here with Ribbon and Tima and Ndebele. The carcass has completely fallen to the ground. Tingana has disappeared into the bushes. Listen to that. Some pieces don't deserve a crush, just a swallow. Tina, you'd like to know why the hyena is classified as a cat and not a dog? It's not classified as a cat, it's classified as a cat-like animal. So cats are felids, felidae. Dogs are canidae. Hyenas are filiforms. Now within the group filiforms, there are civets, mongoose, hyenas, genets. So they are cat-like creatures. So they're not in the same category as cats, no pun intended, but they are more closely related to cats. So they're not classified as cats, and they're not classified as dogs. They have their own special group, Hyenidae, but they are more closely related to cats. What? Oh, excuse me. I don't know this. I don't know this hyena. Oh, hang on, let me take my binos out and have a good look. That's their greeting ceremony, if you're wondering. They sniff each other's genitals. Oh, was it just Indabele coming from the other side? Come on, let me look at you. Oh, it is. She gave me a bit of a surprise. I was like, this hyena is so much littler. It's just Indabele. Oh, very cool. You came for a walk with me this morning, didn't you? Yes, you did. Oh, so we've actually got 4 now. So we've got Indabele here, Ribbon eating away, and Tima, that one, and then we've got Swazi. Yep, there we go. Now they're staring off in the direction of Tlalamba's kill. I don't think it would be a bad idea well, I mean, obviously it'd be a good idea to go back to her and her kill, but it would not be far-fetched to think that maybe Tingana would come there too. Jingles, I got only a part of your question there, but FC will help me. It was something about bite and the kill. Will it fight for its kill back? Probably not. Very unlikely. For one, the hyenas are making having a really good go at it at the moment. Look at how cute she looks there. They're having a very good go of it, and he wouldn't have abandoned the kill if he was so desperate to hang on to it anyway. And 3 hyenas, if he and 3 hyenas had been pulling out the kill, he would leave it. But if it was just one of these small fries, like in Ndebele or Swazi, even in Tima, he would probably pull at it. When you say fight, they don't really fight. They just kind of chase each other off. Because nobody really wants to engage in battle, because that means that either party can get hurt. And self-preservation is number one. So if there's a carcass and it's fallen out of the tree and the leopard's just gotten it and really wants it back, two things can happen. For one, Tingana is a big male leopard. So it's going to take more than one sub-adult to chase him off his kill. So what could happen is maybe he drops the kill and he still desperately wants it back. He jumps back down and he will snarl and all of that and try to chase the hyenas away. He can do that. He can even do that for 3, but he's not going to win because he doesn't want to get hurt. The other option is that, or the other scenario is that it's a young leopard like Kalamba and just one hyena can come through, full carcass that she just hoisted, drops to the ground, and she can't have any of it, and she'll just leave it. So it depends a lot on size and experience too. You'll find that they don't take chances with Tingana, but they will with Kalamba. I've seen it happen. Okay, we're gonna have to switch to infrared. Are you ready? Let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Extra light spectrum emitted from the camera. Yay. I can hear, if you can hear the whoo, whoo in the background. Those are the wildebeest that are nearby. They're not too happy about the presence of these hyenas. One hyena has just run off now towards Kalamba's kill. I think we got to make a move that way too. Mr. Novel, you'd like to know if all the hyenas in Djuma are related? No, they're not all related. Firstly, we'll talk about the fact that males are immigrant males. All the adult males are immigrant males. The only males that are related in the clan are those ones that are cubs at the moment. But we have, so there's a few that are related. Madam had quite a few offspring, Pretty being one of them, but no, Pretty is passed as well.
Can you copy off?
And then Corky was the daughter of Floppy Ear. And then Corky had her 2 litters, or 3 litters with this one. And then Ribbon, actually once thought she was female. Ribbon, I can't remember who was Ribbon's mother. I don't even know if we know who Ribbon's mother was. But they've all come together at a much earlier time, and they would have somehow been related in order to form that group. Like the hyenas that I haven't met, that are generations above the ones that you see here, the adult ones, like Scarback, Floppy Ear, Gwen, Madam, even above that. Those hyenas would also have been related in some way, or at least know each other from their clan. Maybe 1 or 2 being immigrant, but the males are always immigrant unless they are cubs. That's quite nice because it means that there's quite a large gene pool for these animals. Can you hear that? It's like somebody recorded an impala's alarm call and then slowed it down. Woodland kingfisher. Listen. Oh, of course, when I point it out. Ah, there we go. Either when I point it out, it will not, or it will do it as soon as I start talking. Either way, we are going to go to Tlalamba and see if the visual is good, and I'll see you there.
And we have left those lions just as they have crossed the riverbed. So unfortunately we couldn't see them anymore, and to get to them now, they'll be long gone by the time we get there. So what we'll do now is we're going to check a road next to the riverbed and see what starts to move this time of the evening under the cover of darkness. So on any given evening, it's always good to have a look, see if we might get lucky with the leopard moving along the road. Especially after the rain yesterday, there's the female leopard within this area who's territorial, and she needs to move around and respray or remark the different beacons within her area. But I'm not going to put my money on that. It might be tricky and you need a lot of luck. So what I might be looking for is things like this, which is a rose eagle owl. So we're going infrared to get a better view of this animal, and also because it is a nighttime creature. Just have a look at the large eyes. It looks like it's checking us out.
JAPIE,
Guess who I found? No, really, guess. Which of the T's? Trishala, Theo, Tingana, or Tlalamba? If you guess Tingana, congratulations. You win my respect. I hope you'll be around for a couple days. It's always nice to spend time with this guy. I had the odd experience of cleaning out stuff while I was moving, and then I came across my first notebook from starting at Wild Earth. It's cringy, but it also shows you how far you can come in a short space of time. And it says there, in a sentence, Tingani, female leopard, skittish on foot. It made me chuckle. Can you imagine that, Tingana? Now, of course, I know it is Tingana. He's a male leopard, and yes, he is a little bit shy, especially on foot, as his name wears his namesake. Taylor, you'd like to know what the bite force of a leopard is. I'm just thinking for a moment because I did know it. It's either 600, I think it's between 400 and 600 psi, if I remember correctly, because it was not very strong compared to a hyena, 1,100, or a hippo, 1,800. What was it? Yeah. Crocodile as well. That was not very, very strong, comparatively. And keep in mind that your bite force is about 100, give or take, psi. There's a red-chested cuckoo going in the background. Last calls before it turns in. Cicadas. The air is very summery, still quite dense and humid. And the smell of the silver cluster leaf flowers are, in my opinion, polluting the air with their stench. But you know, each to its own. I'm sure it's very, very attractive for many insects. Vic, you say it's 700 psi? Cool, 700 psi it is. Although I must say I recall it being lower than that. But there you go. Vic has told us 700 psi. Thank you for finding out for us, Vic. I always knew that lions was pretty bad. Also around the same, for about 600 or so. At least as far as I remember. Baby Vic would know. Sitting very beautifully, but it is getting dark. Hopefully we're able to catch a few more visuals of him. But otherwise he's going to just fade into the darkness for tonight.
So, unfortunately, the owl has flown off, and we are now heading in the direction of the lodge, actually. On the way there, always a good idea to check the Timbavati riverbed. There's a decent stretch that we have to cover before we get there, and like we were saying just before we found the owl, we might have some luck with a leopard moving at this point. Now, due to the fact that those young lions are with the pride of lions, we don't view them after dark yet. They're still very young, and we only start viewing the lion cubs once they reach 1 year of age, after dark, with a red filter, to be a little bit more sensitive to their eyes. Now, the same with other nocturnal creatures, like the leopard, for instance. And we often find that those animals move out into open spaces. Now, when we left the pride, they've moved down the bank. They went to go settle in the riverbed, and we've left them. But now I'm hoping it was some stroke of luck. A leopard in this area might have had the same idea. But then the riverbed is always good for other smaller creatures, like African civet, if we're very lucky. And what we often find is that along the banks of the river in the dense bush, you do on occasion see the rarer nighttime creatures. Maybe a spotted genet. The other night in this particular area actually had a brief view of a spring hare, which in this particular area is quite rare. And then with the insects moving along the sand, the river sand itself, you often have owls in the riverbed. Now I know that nearby there is an owl's nest, and it will be interesting to see. I have come across that very owl along the stretch of the riverbed on occasions after dark, where it's busy hunting insects on the ground.
Once again, it seems that Trishala is the last man standing for the end of show. So we're just going to have to chat it out. Unfortunately, our view of Tingana was really poor, so we couldn't see much. So I thought, let's drive out and see if there are insects all over the place and are now crawling into my head. Excuse me for that. I thought, let us drive around and, you know, shoot the breeze. Just us. You might also notice that my front lights aren't working. Oh, stuck in bed, that's an interesting one. If I could trade places with an animal for a day, who would it be? It would most certainly be a bird. Which bird doesn't matter too much, but a bird of prey would be nice. So I'd love to know what it's like to fly, wouldn't you? Fly, a bird of prey. Maybe a steppe eagle, so I could have a really nice journey down to Africa. Or maybe just a seagull. Jonathan Seagull. Whatever it is, I'd like to be a bird. I don't have any specifics about preferably not one of the passerines. I don't want to be one of the songbirds, sing the song perched birds. I mean, like weak-legged birds, shall we say. I want to be a flyer, a soarer. What would you guys like to do? What would you trade? Or my brain just went off then. Who would you trade for one day? Life with for one day? As much as I love chameleons, wouldn't be a chameleon. I think it's just too stressful. You're so slow, you know, just too stressful. But then also you have really cool powers. Oh, maybe I'll need 2 days. Trade one with a chameleon, but an elephant too. See, don't ask me to choose stuff, guys. It's just just never works out. Then I start thinking it's ooh, 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 ooh. In that exact fashion, obviously. Come on, chameleon. Reveal yourself. Oh, that's like asking a magician to tell you how he did his trick. No! This is the usual end. Wait. Oh, please. Is it? Are you? And it is not a chameleon, but hopefully I'll be more lucky tomorrow. Thank you for your questions and comments, guys. I see you in the morning. Bye-bye for now.